I don't have a quarter with me, but if you visualize what one looks like, yeah, I do have a quarter. If you have a piece of crack cocaine, no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, $1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years.
Now for the other side, we welcome in former Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. Madam Mayor, thanks for being here. Your thoughts, you just heard that from the former acting White House Chief of Staff, the state of the race, where you see it tonight.
We also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well. I never said, nor would I ever say, that we are giving people space to destroy our city, so my words should not be twisted. We also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well. I never said, nor would I ever say, that we are giving people space to destroy our city. Gave those who wished to destroy, so my words should not be twisted.
I think it's always great to be up in the polls, but the most important poll we know is Election Day. I think so many of us remember the pain that we felt knowing the polls were favoring Hillary Clinton 4 years ago and knowing the ultimate outcome.
This week, we're very focused on a grassroots game to get people to the polls. This election matters too much.
We could not be more thrilled. Every time he opens his mouth, I just see the Democrats measuring up the drapes. We are in a very, very good position, you know.
Yeah, there is some frustration up on Capitol Hill. Republicans thought that they were close to at least starting the conversation on police reform. Take a listen to Senator Tim Scott on this.
Young Americans of all colors are losing faith in the institutions of authority and power in this nation because we're playing small ball. We're playing for those in the insulated chambers. We're playing for presidential politics.
So Democrats blocked the effort to even get the bill to vote on or to be amended. And there's frustration that this is all about politics and trying to be a presidential issue. How do you respond to that?
I think it's definitely frustrating for many of us to see what's going on in Congress. My hope is that some meaningful police reform will come out of Congress. But what I know from being a mayor is
we also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well.
a lot of the leadership happens on the ground level from mayors. And I know that police reform is something that mayors across the country are taking a look at. They are engaging with their constituents to make sure that the policing for their community fits what the community needs.
We also gave those who wished to destroy space to do that as well.
While I know that it's frustrating that the reform isn't coming out of Capitol Hill, that doesn't mean that change isn't coming.
So you would tell your Democrat colleagues on the Hill maybe they should have gone forward and tried to amend the bill and get 70%, not 100%?
You know, I wouldn't, I think it's important for them to stand their ground in the way that they think is important.
I tell you, the president's response to this situation has been nearly perfect. The president said, I want to solve this problem. And he did. All we needed to complement the president's executive order was the Democrats to show up and be counted. Just a few Democrats, not 46, just 7 Democrats. And we couldn't get 7 people to come to the table and say they're serious about police reform. Instead, what they're serious about is using police reform as a campaign issue this November. That is despicable.
The work that they're doing in Congress isn't going to change the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights in Maryland, which had to be amended to make sure that my police commissioner could enforce and take precautions when it was necessary against officers who had committed wrongdoing.
Yeah, I want to play just one more soundbite for you, and this is Bob Johnson, the founder of BET, talking to Fox earlier this week.
Vice President Biden said to an African-American, a Black American host on a show, even if you think about voting for Donald Trump, you're not Black.
More questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump and you ain't Black,
you're not Black. To have that mindset, you must have the attitude that we Black Americans, we own you. We can take you for granted. That to me shows you that Black Americans are an appendage of a party.
He went on to say that maybe Black Lives Matter should start its own party. What's your response to Bob Johnson?
I think it's unfortunate that he took what Biden said, when prompted by a radio host, out of context.
I never said, nor would I ever say, that we are giving people space to destroy our city. So my words should not be twisted.
Out of context, and did so, unfortunately, to be more divisive. And I don't think it's a time for us as a community to think about being divisive.
What a bunch of bullshit.
Nigga, that's that bullshit. Nigga, that's that bullshit.
The Democratic Party has always been a place where African Americans, in my lifetime have found opportunities for leadership. I was the secretary for the DNC.
Yeah, just last thing quickly. I mean, you're saying not to be divisive, but there are parts of this movement and tearing down monuments and statues beyond Confederate figures that some would say are divisive and outside the norm of our process of government. Will the vice president, former vice president, speak out about that?
I think what we need to hear is our president speak out.
He has.
Against racism.
Racism is evil.
Against racism, against police brutality.
And it's a great state, Minnesota. They've got to get tougher. They've got to get tougher. They've got to be strong. Honor the memory of George Floyd. Honor his memory. They have to get tougher. And by being tougher, they will be honoring his memory.
He spent more time defending these monuments of the South, monuments of the Confederates that were anti-America, anti-U.S. He spent more time defending them than he has protecting the over 100,000 Americans that have died from COVID.
It's bullshit. I'm calling you out on that bullshit. I have no doubt that it's bullshit. You're trying to pull one over on me. I was born at night, but it wasn't last. I've seen a lot in my stories past. Yeah, Jesus knows that he's taking notes on you. What you do?
He's got his priorities really mixed up. I think if he focused on listening to the protesters instead of trying to incite violence and to try to boost his poll numbers with his base, I think we'd all be better off.
MAGA says, "Make America great again." These are people that love our country. I have no idea if they're going to be here. I was just asking, but I have no idea if they're going to be here. But MAGA is "Make America great again." By the way, they love African American people. They love Black people. MAGA loves Black people.
Yeah, obviously the Trump campaign has a different view of where he is and what he said. Mayor, we appreciate your time. Please send the message that we'd love to have the former vice president on.
And what did Joe and Barack do after Ferguson, after Baltimore, after Cambridge, after all these? Did they do anything, Senator? Because I don't remember them doing a thing.
Not that I can recall, but I do remember one thing that Joe Biden did in 1994. He passed a crime bill that his Democrat opponent said locked up disproportionately African-American men, and it took President Trump to come along through the First Step Act and reverse the carnage, the damage, the disrespect done to the Black community. He reversed it. President Trump made up for the bad decisions of Vice President Biden.
It's bullshit. I'm calling you out on that bullshit. I have no doubt that it's bullshit. You're trying to pull one over on me. I was born at night, but it wasn't last. I've seen a lot in my storied past. Jesus knows and he's taking notes on you.